Hey guys, Christina Poncher here, and you're watching True School Sports.
Action.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, last night, Joe Smith Jr. Pretty much put the exclamation point on Bernard Hopkins' retirement party. The fight was built up as the final one at the Inglewood Forum. You know, it was B-Hop's last fight, his last chance, his last time gracing the ring for us boxing fans. And you know, he got embarrassed. There's no other way around it. He got embarrassed. Joe Smith Jr. knocked him out of the ring, and many who picked Bernard Hopkins to win, are now salty over Joe Smith Jr. doing that, and they're not giving him his credit. And Joe Smith Jr. in the post-fight interviews, he says something that's very interesting. And you can go find the interview on Fight Hub TV. I'll leave the link for you guys in the description. But Joe Smith Jr. said that with his victory in impressive fashion over Bernard Hopkins, and then with his upset victory over Andre Fonfara back in June, he thinks that he should be Fighter of the Year. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is crazy, but I think Joe Smith Jr. actually has a valid case for Fighter of the Year in the sport of boxing. So I'm going to tell you guys why. Now, we're going to start off in June when he upset Andre Fonfara in Chicago. Joe Smith Jr. had 22 fights under his belt at that point. Relatively obscure opponents, club shows in New York City. He hadn't beaten anybody at that top level. And when he fought Fonfara, people don't remember this, but Fonfara, he was a stepping stone for Fonfara. This is supposed to be Fonfara's chance and Fonfara's time to get himself back into title contention. And at the time that Joe Smith fought Andre Fonfara, Fonfara was ranked number 8 at light heavyweight. And you guys can go and read the articles in Ring Magazine. He was talking about getting the Adonis Stevenson rematch, title shots, and that's what Joe Smith was, a stepping stone, a flat-footed club fighter for Andre Fonfara to look good against in his hometown. And that's not what happened. We saw Joe Smith Jr. go in there in the first round and blast Fonfara right out the ring. That's how he got himself the Bernard Hopkins fight in the first place, and that will probably be upset of the year. So he beats the number 8 ranked light heavyweight, and if you guys remember, you know, Fonfara hadn't lost since 2014 to Adonis Stevenson. He was coming off of the big win of his career against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., where he stopped him, and then a good win against Nathan Cleverly. So it wasn't like he was fighting a guy who didn't have any momentum. So he gets the upset of the year against Andre Fonfara. And then he comes into a fight against Bernard Hopkins where everybody, myself included, thought the experience and lack of skills from Joe Smith will be the determining factor in the fight, and that's not what happened. He goes in there and he destroys Bernard Hopkins in an incredible fashion, knocks him out the ring, and had Bernard Hopkins crying like a little sissy after the fight. That's just what it was. So let's compare what he did to some of the other guys people are saying are Fighter of the Year. We'll start with probably the leading candidate, which you would say is Carl Frampton. He scored 2 really good victories this year, one against Scott Quigg, the other against Leo Santa Cruz. I think he's probably the front runner, because a lot of people didn't think he beat Santa Cruz, or would have beat Santa Cruz. He moved up and wait and beat him, and then when he beat Scott Quigg via split decision. So, you know, make of that what you will, but neither one of those performances from Carl Frampton were as dominant as Joe Smith Jr. So that's where I think Joe Smith has the edge over him there. Then you have my boy Roman Gonzalez, who had a good year himself. He beat Williams Arroyo, who at the time was the 4th ranked flyweight. Then he moves up in weight with no tune-ups and fights Carlos Cuadras and gets a disputed decision. In the eyes of some, I thought he won. So even Roman wasn't as dominant as Joe Smith Jr. Then you have Andre Ward, and we already know what people think about that fight. The majority of people think Kovalev won that fight, and he fought Alexander Brand, who was overmatched, and he fought Sullivan Barrera, who at the time had no big fight experience, and really his best one was Carl Marat. So Andre Ward didn't necessarily have an impressive year. Lomachenko had a great year, knocking out Roman Martinez, who many looked at as the weakest champion at the featherweight or super featherweight weight class, and then he beat Nicholas Walters, which was a good win for him, but a lot of people thought Walters was overmatched going into that. And then you have GGG, who beat Dominic Wade, who was a mandatory type of opponent, and Kell Brook, who was overmatched welterweight. So what I'm saying, guys, is this. If you guys didn't know the names, if I just said, okay, this guy rose from obscurity, we didn't know who the hell he was a year ago, most of us didn't know who he was a year ago, he comes in, he's fighting on the road in Chicago with a large Polish contingent there to support Andre Fanfaro. He was a massive underdog, and he goes in there with all odds against him, blasts this guy out the ring in round number 1. This guy is a top 10 caliber light heavyweight. Then he gets the opportunity of a lifetime to fight an all-time great who, yes, is very old, but a lot of people were picking him to lose. The odds favored Bernard Hopkins, and then he goes in there and literally blasts him out of the ring, gets Bernard Hopkins out of the ring, batters him, beats him up. Joe Smith Jr. has a huge case for Fighter of the Year. Nobody's been more dominant against so many odds. And I think when you look at the opponents he fought this year, under the conditions he fought him under, and how dominant he was, I think Joe Smith warrants a huge case for Fighter of the Year. So I know a lot of you guys are probably going to laugh and say, well, you know what you're talking about. But the facts are he beat a top 10 light heavyweight, which is a massive step up for him in class. He was fighting nothing but domestic level, like club fighters, guys who you can see in your local cards. But to beat a guy like Andre Fanfaro, who just not too long ago embarrassed Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that says a lot about how good Joe Smith Jr. is. And I think, with what he's done this year, he should have huge consideration for Fighter of the Year. And on top of that, Joe Smith Jr. should get the opportunity to fight in his hometown in New York City, somewhere on Long Island, against crosstown rival Shawnee Monahan. Both these guys have aggressive come-forward styles. I'll have a video coming out on that soon. But that would be a Fight of the Year candidate if they did make it happen. And I just wanted to get my thoughts out there on this. I think Joe Smith Jr., with last night's win, has put himself in contention for Fighter of the Year. But you guys can let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think Joe Smith should be Fighter of the Year? If not, let me know why. If so, also let me know why. So leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.